some breaking news for you now. A new nationwide police force will be established to fight the most complex and serious crimes across the UK, the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has announced. For all the details on this, I'm now joined by our Home and Security Editor, Mark White. Mark, thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening. Tell us more about this breaking news.
Well, this is a huge development in policing. It's the biggest shake-up of policing since the police service was founded some 2 centuries ago. For the first time, a national police service will be set up to take in the most serious elements of policing. At the moment, you have, for instance, counter-terrorism policing that's run centrally by the Metropolitan Police with a number of regional counter-terrorism units across the country. You've also got the National Crime Agency, of course, dealing with serious and organised crime, dealing with the people smuggling issue, dealing with the likes of child abuse online, all those kinds of major significant criminal activity. That will be absorbed also into this new police service, along with regional crime units as well. The thinking behind it is to have this big central police force with a commissioner who would be the most senior police officer in the land, able to devote the kind of expert resources to these most serious and complex crimes, and that would free up regional police forces. Of course, we have a model of some 43 police forces throughout England and Wales. They would then be free to really concentrate on the core business of the day-to-day criminality that blights so many communities right up and down the country. It is a decision that already at this early stage is being greeted very positively by senior commanders within the police service. The National Police Chiefs Council represents police chiefs, police constables, chief constables right across the country, has welcomed this. The Metropolitan Police, who have responsibility for counter-terrorism policing, have welcomed this. For other former senior officers, again, are behind this. But of course, it all depends on how this force is actually structured, how it's funded, what the details will be. But there's no doubt that this is a very significant development, a major departure for this government in the model of policing that we have in the UK, with this national overarching police force dealing with the most complex of crimes, freeing up regional police forces to get about their core business.
And on this story, of course, policing across the country has been squeezed over the years. I'm assuming the Home Secretary is going to have to hire a new raft of police officers. Is there any clarity on how many people she's expecting to hire for this new role, and how many will come from existing forces yet, Mark?
Well, there will be an element of that, there's no doubt. But remember, there are people in offices doing those jobs at the moment. So what you will get is a more centralised command structure, so that those officers, for instance, the National Police Air Service, so all of the helicopters, the drones and the aircraft that police forces use. Currently, it's controlled by West Yorkshire Police. Bizarrely, but it is. That will come to this new National Police Service. Roads policing as well. That's operated out of Sussex, even though it's a nationwide service. So that will come within the remit of the National Police Service. So all the people that are doing these jobs will now be answerable to the command structure within the National Police Service itself. So yes, there will be extra resources that are required, there's no doubt, but there will be efficiencies in bringing this together. There will be expertise. The computer systems operating for this new police service should work better, should be more streamlined and able to support regional forces. Because what you have at the moment are now some very serious and complex crimes that smaller regional police forces can really struggle to get a handle on, because they just don't have the resources and the expertise to do this. This national framework should be able, in theory, to come in and to do that. So that's why it's being welcomed by policing leaders. And for me, having, followed policing for many, many years now, there's no doubt this is a bold and very different and new step forward. It could be a very significant positive change going forward.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
Mark, while I've got you, there's another breaking story I'd like to get your thoughts on here. It's a bit of a crazy evening, isn't it? Police have made a number of arrests at HMP Wormwood Scrubs this evening after protesters breached prison grounds. In an update on the incident posted to X, the Metropolitan Police said the group were protesting in support of Palestine, a Palestine Action prisoner on a hunger strike. The protesters refused to leave the grounds, allegedly blocked prison staff from entering and leaving, as well as threatening police officers. Mark, bring us more on this story too.
Well, you pretty much said it. That's what's happened. It's a protest that has taken place in support of one particular Palestine Action prisoner at that jail who has been on hunger strike. It's a disruptive protest that is serious in the sense that it has breached the perimeter of the prison, that these activists have managed to get in through an entrance in Wormwood Scrubs prison itself, a staff entrance, refused to leave, refused to allow prison staff to either get into the prison or indeed to leave the prison. Police have been called, they've made a number of arrests, and the operation is still continuing as we speak, but a significant and serious development as it involves a breach within the prison grounds.
Yeah, shocking stuff. An evening of crime and law and order, eh, Mark? Thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening. Let's bring this over to my panel here. Journalist and broadcaster Linda Jubilee's here, former Labour advisor Paul Richards, and Reform UK member and former Conservative MP Jonathan Gullis is here too. Jonathan, this is... let's maybe start. Should we start with which bit should we go with first? Should we go with these protesters? Because I think this is going to be quite outrageous to people watching. They've broken into a prison now over this hunger strike that's been going on for days and days and days now. They've been supported by certain MPs in Parliament over this. We saw Zara Sultana show up in solidarity, as she says, with hunger strike protesters before. But now they've broken into the prison. And we've seen Palestine Action do something similar on a military base. Is this whole Palestine stuff getting beyond the pale now? Will British people stomach this much longer?
Well, I think the British public are already sick to the backbone of it when they already have seen thousands of officers and millions of pounds out of their local policing budgets in their local communities coming down to London each and every week to deal with what is the hate marches. People out there spewing their vile anti-Semitism on the streets of London, waving the Palestine flag. That is a symbol, not a flag of a nation, a symbol to oppress people who are either Jewish or pro-Israel. And someone like myself who's a proud Zionist, someone who's proud to support, obviously, the State of Israel, and someone who understands that those terrorist attacks on the 7th of October is something that we should therefore, as an ally of Israel, be supporting. But instead, these people fundamentally hate our allies. They therefore, in turn, will hate our country too.
Yeah.
And it's just a downright sick disgrace. And the fact that they're trying to now intimidate prison officers who are just trying to go about their job, a job which is already challenging enough, those people doing that should be banged up and to get a taste of what life is like inside. And I'm sure very quickly, Tarquins and all that lot will be getting very upset and calling mummy and daddy to bail them out.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be. Let's go to this big policing story, Linda, as well, because, of course, this is a massive restructuring of policing in Britain. This could cause, I mean, whilst it's being hailed, and I do like a bit of centralisation in some cases, because I think policing across Britain is clearly broken. There's two-tier here, two-tier there. Many people will point to the fact and say this is going to draw expertise from local areas. They're going to have to be replaced. We don't have enough police officers as it is. Is this the right time to be creating such a massive
We've got a serious
restructure?
and organised crime section of the police, which deals, the clue is in the title. So I'm not quite sure how this is all going to work, but I do agree that local police, should be left to do local policing issues, because there is so much concern. There's a great deal of concern in the town where I live about shoplifting, about personal crimes, while the police are occupying themselves with so-called hate crimes. Now, that's what we should be looking at. We should make sure that local police are fighting that kind of crime that people find personally very difficult to deal with. They should be concentrating on that. I don't think there's anything wrong with this in principle, but I worry that it's just window dressing, that it's just somehow, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, isn't it?
Well, this is the thing, right? And we're talking a lot about law and order, Paul. We're talking a lot about crime lately. This has been a big talking point. Actually, Lady Cunningham was just in the room. Reform UK are making a big thing about crime in Britain. Is this only in response to the political atmosphere around crime in the country? British people feel like crime is going up, or they feel unsafer? Is that what this is?
Well, I think it's a response to the crisis in policing itself. And I think Shabana Mahmood is emerging as one of the great stars of this government, because she's shaking up a public service, as you were hearing in your report there, in a very fundamental way. We're not going to lose sight of the founding principles of our police, so the P-like principles of citizens in uniform, policing by consent, it's a local service. But we are going to get this national effort to beat crime, because, of course, when the Victorians were beating crime, it was the local wrong-uns that they were banging up. Now crime is international and national, and of course transcends the boundaries of the 43 constabulary. So you do need to have that constabulary force that Shabana's talking about. But I think it will make a huge difference. And, one of the things this government is going to be judged on is going to be crime and disorder. So that's why she's doing it. But what a superstar. She's actually getting on with the job, right?
Jonathan, what do you make of this new policy to have this big national unit to tackle crime? Is it the right time? Is this in response to other political parties putting pressure on the government, or is this simply the right thing to do?
Well, look, I've spoken to quite a few police officers serving and who have left the service, and they're warmly receiving this as well. Look, the devil's always in the detail, and the government will ultimately be judged on what it actually delivers. But what they did say to me was, with 43 forces trying to all tackle things like serious crime, you've got a lot of replication in the system. And actually the replication means everyone's pooling for a smaller amount of resource and actually pinching the best and the brightest off each other. This will, in some ways, help to save money, enable the reduction, hopefully, of headcount in backroom staff and the pooling of resources across the country, and should therefore free up dedicated officers back on the beat, which is what we all fundamentally want. So I welcome it in a sense of from the people I trust, the people who lived and breathed this job day in, day out. They're saying we should welcome it. I will actually judge it, though, when I see serious criminals banged up.
And just very briefly, Alex, don't forget, Shabana's also abolished the Police and Crime Commissioners, which will save a lot of money.
That's a great move, by the way.
It is a great move. What a waste of money, the Police and Crime Commissioners. We've seen how they handled the West Midlands debacle, which that bloke should have been sacked, quite frankly. But there you go. Listen,